Hey, everybody. Welcome to our 60-second professional learning session. And today I'm excited to present with Chelsea Moyer. She's going to do the heavy lifting on something that we should all be using in our work, no matter what our job in the district is. It is Google Gemini. Perhaps you've been playing around with it and trying to find some ways to use it. Well, Google Gemini has really advanced in its power, its features, and usability, and we're excited to share with you so many awesome new ways you can use it to help with your work, your instruction, your organization, your creation, even in your Google Classroom. Chelsea's going to show us how to do it. I think you're really going to benefit from this session, and I'm just going to say, I think our district is so fortunate to have so many AI tools. We build muscle memory to go certain directions. And I think we really want to start some muscle memory on Google Gemini because it integrates so well with what we're already using with Google Docs and spreadsheets and everything. So anyways, I'm going to quit talking and Chelsea, take it away.
Awesome, Kelly. Well, I'm going to share my screen with you. I was actually able, Kelly, is my screen good for you?
It is
okay.
on. Yep.
Awesome. I was able to attend the Ohio Tech Director Conference last week, and I did a really cool workshop on Gemini, and there's so many things, like even 2 weeks ago, kind of like what you were saying, there's new stuff in here all the time. So when you get into Gemini, actually, let me back up a step. If you would like to navigate to Gemini, you just need to be in Chrome. So you log in here, anywhere that you see your little app launcher, Gemini should be one of your choices inside of there. And that's just where I've started. If it's your first time using Gemini, it's going to give you all kinds of little like, hey, here's what's new. Here's some things you might want to try. And that's what we want to walk you through today is some of the cool features that you may not know even exist. So just like Kelly was mentioning, like the muscle memory, if you would typically go to another AI platform, maybe ChatGPT, we want to start moving over to Gemini because it's more secure for us. So what Google does is they've taken all of our accounts and kind of put them in this little bubble. We have a little Port Clinton bubble, and anything we put into Gemini will stay within that bubble. Like it's not going out to the whole world. No one can see what we've been typing. So that's the key part.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to interrupt and get you off track, but we can't use ChatGPT, right?
We cannot.
Okay.
We have not blocked it yet, but it is coming. Just because it's just not secure for our kids.
And we have compliance issues to do. I do. Correct. So I really have been using Google Gemini more, and I compare often my prompts to Gemini and to ChatGPT and others. And I think Google Gemini is just blowing ChatGPT out of the water in so many ways that you're going to share. But I have a quick question before you proceed. A lot of us use AI on our iPads or our phones. Can we log into the school Gemini on our phones, like what through the app?
I believe so. I'm actually doing it on my phone right now. Let me double check.
Okay.
And Kelly, I should make a note. Yes, you can. The only thing I would say, so like when I just pulled it up on my phone, I'm signed into like my personal email and my school email. So you'll just want to be careful if you're doing something for school. You'll want to make sure you're using your school account within Gemini. One, that keeps our data safe, and two, being a school account and how we pay for those additional features in Google, you're going to get more features. So if you use your personal account, the data is not as secure, and two, you're not going to have as many features.
Gotcha.
I will make a note. I believe that's available for iPads, and we can push that out to the teacher library.
Sorry to take you off track. I just know a lot of people go from their mobile device because it's so convenient.
Yeah, it is convenient. So I guess I share this as if you would go to ChatGPT normally or another one of the models out there, this is what Gemini does. You can just come in here and you can start typing your prompts. And I told Kelly before we started, so I was like, I don't have a lot of great prompt examples. I want to show you some of the different features that are in here. So this would just be your typical prompt. You can put anything in here. But if you click this tools button, Google gives you these different options for how to interact with, different options for how to interact with the with Gemini. So if I type something into just the regular prompt, like let's say a student solving a math problem, they could put the math problem in here and it would just tell them the answer. Google has built in this guided learning mode, which I would encourage you to teach your students how to use this. If they put in a problem or a question in here, it's not going to spit out the answer right away. So here, we'll just use one of their samples. They would put in their math problem, maybe they're uploading a picture of it, they're typing it in, and it's going to go through and it's going to ask them questions like, okay, what grade are you in? To help it understand how to answer the question for students. Quick little segue before we get too far into this. Students do have access to Gemini. They are not going to have access to all of the features inside of here. And as we get to each of them, I'll let you know what they have access to. But students would absolutely have access to this guided learning. Now, once we started putting a prompt in here, do you notice this little statement that pops up down here?
Your schools chats aren't used to improve our models.
So that's why Gemini is so powerful. We get all of the advantages of a traditional Google account that's using Gemini, but they keep all of our data protected. And this is the piece that's missing from the other models. So just a little side chat there. So guided learning, I think there's a lot of opportunity here. Another mode that they have is deep research. We are limited to 5 deep as of right now, and this stuff is evolving very quickly, so these limits could change. But deep research, we're limited to 5 per month. And this is really where Gemini is going to go out there and gather all of your research for a research project. They're going to find journals, like scholarly journals that are online. They're going to grab YouTube videos. They're going to search everything. This won't be something we can model today because this process takes anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, depending on what your topic is. Yeah, so this one does take a really long time for it to generate. But when it comes back, it's going to show you all of the sources. It's going to kind of break down what it found in the research. It kind of like categorizes the data into like a little more digestible chunks that really make good sense. It kind of reminds me of the AI version of the note cards back in the day when you used to do your research paper. You had the note cards, you're kind of organizing them. It does that research for you, and then it shows you the sources that it used. But we're limited to 5 of those per month, so just keep that in the back of your mind. Okay. Creating images. This is what Google has called Nano Banana. So if you want to generate an image, what do you have, Kelly? What do we want to make an image of?
I want to make an image for a slide presentation that I was going to give to teachers about using Google Gemini in the classroom. So maybe cover opening slide of using Google Gemini to improve instruction and learning. And I don't know what it's going to spit out, but I got to tell you, I've played around with this a little bit. It's incredible what the samples I've seen. Way better than any other AI that I've used. And I'll put my name to that one. Yeah.
So while this is generating, unfortunately, the Nano Banana, the image generator stuff is not available to students yet. There's something on the back end with the way that they use the data that they cannot open it up for students yet. So if you would like to do image generation for students, my recommendation would be go through Magic School, because that option is set up in a safe way for students at that level.
Yeah. So right off the bat, looking at that, not like I was thinking there would be like a teacher in front of the room or something, but I want to point something out. So I was in the high school PLC meeting, and I was speaking with Ty Roth, awesome ELA teacher at the high school. And he says that when he creates images, he was using a different AI that's not Gemini. And he's like, it's crazy. It never spells anything correctly. And I was like, I've had that problem too, but I've noticed in Gemini, it's more accurate. And if I look at this, if I'm proofreading it correctly, everything's spelled right. And that's not the experience you get in other AIs. I'm just telling you.
I think that's awesome. And then we could come back in here and So our school colors are red, black, and gray.
Put in there and an instructor talking to educators, picture or something like that. You're so polite with your prompts.
Well, I have to be right now. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm very like, I just need you to give me the information.
Ditto. Yeah. Get it done. Yeah. Let's see what it does.
That does. And while that's generating over here on the side, see how it says like it starts with that solving tricky math problems? Anytime you interact with Gemini, your chat, anytime you start a new one, it will be listed over here. So if you want to keep things, okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
Getting there.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to keep like, your math problems separate, before we started this image, we may have wanted to come up here and do a new chat. Like a good example I have is like, I do a lot of stuff with Gemini for cybersecurity. I did a lot of stuff with it for Digital Citizenship Week. So I tried to keep a separate chat for each one so I could keep coming back to it so it remembered what I was working with and what I had said previously.
Now, Chelsea, I'm glad you mentioned that all of our prompts on the left-hand side. Maybe it's a setting that I don't know about, but I tried to delete some of mine and I could not.
You cannot. So that is another interesting part of this whole AI piece. Anything we do in AI is considered a public record, just like all of our other files and all of our other documents. So
good to know.
Yeah, I guess I always think nobody's going to do anything bad at school. But just in case, there's don't do weird stuff on here. I guess that's a good thing to say. But yeah, all of your Gemini prompts will be saved. We're legally required to do that. And it will also save for students. So if you get into like a sticky situation, maybe a kiddo's doing something not so appropriate on Gemini, we do have track of that. So if we do get into a situation where we need to pull that back up again, we'll have it.
So if you're using a personal Gemini and school Gemini, you just want to make sure that you got those separately.
Yes, exactly. So if you are using, I wouldn't do your personal Gemini work in here because that does become a public record.
That's what I mean, toggle from account to account.
Yep. Sometimes the lines get a little blurred and we may do a little bit of personal stuff. Like I'm thinking other tools like, okay, Canva's got some really great features. Oh, I'm just gonna make one quick thing for like a kid's birthday party. We really can't do those kinds of things because it's abusing the license that they give us. A lot of these companies give us these elevated licenses for either free or next to nothing. So we got to really make sure we take good care of them.
Yeah. Okay.
One other, we kind of started to talk about all of the different chats that'll generate over here. Students will have a different chat experience than you do. So Gemini is built, if a student goes in there and like types something really terrible, like, how would I harm myself or something along those lines, it is trained to respond to say like, I can't help you with that. And then it will, you should really consider talking to a trusted adult, those kinds of things. So again, I wouldn't type those in here to test it because your accounts are all marked as adults. And then if you do just test it, it's going to flag it. And then, we're going to reach out to you, that kind of thing. So it is monitored. I guess I just share that as like a peace of mind thing. We are keeping an eye on these kinds of things. Kelly, anything else with pictures?
I think it's faster. I think it does a better job on text. Of course, you got to keep messing around with your prompt a little bit. One thing I like to do, and it's kind of weird, is like I will add a file, like I'll add a photo of like a sample, or I'll give it a style. And I've noticed, interesting enough, Gemini is more generous about completing a style. Like say you chose a specific artist or photographer or style. It seems a little more generous than some of the other AIs. The other AIs come back with that's a violation, can't do that, things like that.
Like a copyright kind of thing.
Yeah. So
we could upload, I don't know if I have, this is my test teacher account. I don't know that I have any images in here. Like on my other account, I know I have the We Are PC logo. So like if you wanted to upload our We Are PC logo and have them incorporate that, it would do that.
Yeah. So like this one, like one thing I might do, just a written prompt underneath, like make it in the style of an Apple website. Let's see if it simplifies it and coolifies it. We'll see how it does. That's a prompt that I sometimes use. And
Cool. Well, and while that's generating, something else that's helpful is every time you get a response, you can either like upvote or downvote it. So as it's giving you things, if you think of clicking those thumbs up, thumbs down, that helps train it to your style and what you like.
yeah, not much difference. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
don't think we had.
yeah, I think when I add a file, it does a much nicer job. It really
Yeah.
does. Okay.
And I don't remember the limits off the top of my head, but you can upload files like from your My Computer folder down here. You can add them from your drive. There are limits. I just don't remember what they are. I want to say it was like 20 per day, but I could be off.
Okay. I have no idea. Now
I'll look up those limits too, and we can post those with the video.
So I see a microphone because people my age like to talk to their devices. So that's pretty handy.
Yep.
And then like the other models, there's different versions. And I'll be honest with you, I've never understood why I would want to go back to an older version. I've never gotten that.
Yeah, so I think Google does a nice job of explaining their versions. So from what I have learned, and I don't know how accurate it is, just your everyday chats when you're doing things like writing and image generating, they suggest using the Flash. That seems to be the best model. If you're doing things with like math and coding, or maybe you're asking Gemini to help you create a formula for a spreadsheet, anything that's like computer based, they suggest upgrading to Pro. And again, I'll look up those limits, but the last time I checked, it was a crazy, like large number. I don't know that anyone would I want to say it was like 100 prompts per day you get with the Pro. So I feel like it was a pretty generous that we would stay within that, that boundary pretty easily.
Yeah. So real quick before you jump out of here, like I did each year, I have to create goals and present them to Pat and for his approval, things I'm going to work on and stuff.
Yeah.
And I like to use AI to do that. I think it improves my work. It's almost like getting dentures or medical work done to you. It just takes the work that I'm doing and makes it a little bit better.
Yes.
I was so impressed this year that without my input, it created tables and organized my thoughts. It kind of broke down the steps, and it was a much better output of a product of what I wanted to share, and something I would not have come up with on my own. Way better to look at than like a paragraph.
Let's do one of those. So I'm going to start a new chat just so you can see what it looks like over here. I am going, and this is a perfect example, Kelly, to do the canvas with too. I'm going to leave it on Flash just because we're generating things here.
What is Canvas? I thought that was a LMS.
It is an LMS, but what it's going to do is it's going to bring up the chat with Gemini here on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side, it's going to have an actual document that we can go in and edit.
Okay.
So let's just say AI is becoming super popular. We want like a table, almost like a rubric, to help us evaluate what to look for if we're using a strong AI table or a tool.
Yeah. That's a good one. Chelsea's typing. Help me create a table to elevate educational AI tools. We want tools to be safe for staff and students. We also want them to be easy to use and reliable. That's
okay. So let's just see what happens. And over here, it's building my next chat. Yeah. This kind of what you're thinking, Kelly?
Yeah, this is good. And then when you get to the end, it lets you do things with it that you can't do with other AIs.
So we can export this right to Google Sheets. Let me switch this to...
I've also copied that just as it is and pasted it in a doc. Yeah.
Oh, and that's a good idea. If you'd prefer to have it in
the table. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I should have had Canvas selected before I start that.
I've heard some people share that their experience with Gemini was not as good as other AIs. And if you're thinking that right now, My question to you would be, when was the last time you went into Gemini? Because I believe even within the last 30 days, there has just been an explosion of advancement with this tool. I think it's way better.
So Kelly, your canvas is going to depend on like what you're making.
Okay, wow.
Um,
That's cool right there. I don't know what
so
it is.
then some of our people who are super, I know this is even some
That's
curriculum
crazy.
for some of our, you could go in here and like actually look at the code that it takes to build
Wow.
this.
Yeah, that's neat.
Isn't that cool? And then you can
Yeah.
go in here and you
Yeah.
can actually fill it in.
Yeah. That's
Isn't
great.
that awesome?
Yeah.
So I haven't done a ton with the canvas just yet, but basically it's kind of like showing you live what it's building in then in a way that you can interact with it.
Yeah.
Now, Kelly, were there any other features on here? I think we've clicked
I think, yeah,
through.
I think you've hit them all. And, I think some of the fun is like fine tuning your prompt, which you did a really nice job of showing.
Yeah. So prompts are also tricky. I think that's one of the reasons why we love Magic Schools, because it has all those little options that are pre-built. It just comes in and it asks you questions. Gemini actually has the ability to kind of, we'll go into Google Classroom in a little bit, but they have what are called gems, which is basically like you come in here.
Chelsea just shared this with me this week. I had no idea. I have said a million times, I really like Magic School because it offers so many pre-built prompts. And then she showed me this. Amazing.
So in your gems, there's a couple up here that are just built. So I'll just use one of theirs and then I'll show you where you can add more. So basically a gem asks you to answer questions, and as you interact with it, then it starts to build out your product. So this one, here's just some examples. I'm just going to use one of theirs to kind of generate one quickly. Kelly, this sounds like Unthink Before Bed.
Yeah, I got to contact them. No,
They're
I
going to
think
be
it's great. I think, like, how awesome would it be for a kid to create a story, a bedtime story, or a book? I think these are great. Get kids to create things.
So depending on what you're asking it to do, it's going to take different amounts of time. While that's loading, if any of you have probably met or heard of Eric Kurtz before, he has created this awesome website called EduGems. And what you can do is you come in here, he's got all these different
Awesome.
categories. So
much.
Kelly, you were just talking about a choice board the other day.
Yeah.
So if you want to create a choice board, he comes in here, he explains like how he built the prompt, and then we can make our own copy. So I'm going to click this link from his website, and we'll put this website out with the recording so you can easily get to it. And up here, I'm going to just take away a copy of, because I just want it to say choice board.
Mm-hmm.
Here's all that, like, look at how detailed this prompt is. So you're a curriculum designer, and I think UDL, isn't that Universal Design for Learning or something like that? The choice board needs to be aligned to my outcomes. You're going to guide me through the process, and it just tells you all of the things it wants to ask you.
Yeah.
You could come through here if you wanted to and change this and refine it, but the whole point of grabbing someone else's gem is look how much time he spent on this.
Yeah.
It's great. Let's just save it. And now over here, Storybook was the one I did as the example when we first started, and now this choice board that I borrowed from Eric Kurtz is a choice.
Yeah.
Oops. Trying to find where my Storybook went. Here it is. Here's the one that it was generating before I showed you where to grab those.
Yeah. Mine took years to make.
Really? Oh, your actual book. Yeah. So like it literally built a book.
Yeah.
But then if you wanted to come back here and you want to use the choice boards, anytime you launch a gem, you have to say something to interact with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're trying to build a choice board. Here's what we need to know. Can you tell me the specific learning objective or key standard? What do you want to pick, Kelly?
Let's see.
Do you
We're
want
going
to
to do a
pick one
choice
for?
board. Let's do create. We're doing a choice board, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Let's do a choice board for students learning how to um, create lowercase letters of the alphabet, different ways they can practice making lowercase letters correctly, something like that. How's that sound? And so
it's-
I don't know if you offer them an example. Maybe we'll be okay.
and sometimes I don't feel like I phrase things like properly, but that's like the beauty of
Yeah, let's do a second grade. There's still some students, believe it or not, that don't
it.
know all their letters yet, especially lowercase. I'm learning. Yeah, let's do a 4x4 grid.
4x4.
And yeah, let's see how it's asking me questions to get a better response. Are there any known learning differences? Nope, just make it. No, no, it doesn't need to know anything else. This is where I get a little. All right. So we can tracing the alphabet path. That's a DOK one. I didn't even ask it because it's a UDL expert. It put in the different DOK. So there's DOK 3 over there. Design a one-page guide for a first grader teaching them how to write 5 common lowercase letters. I like this. And
It's cool.
you can mess around with it. We have iPad carts in each of the buildings. So I could go in and say, hey, we might want to use iPad on some of the choices. We might want to use marker board on some of the choices. And it would fine tune the grid.
I like this that it suggests an approved app. It gives you an example, but it encourages you to check for something that's
Yeah.
reminds you like, hey, make sure it's allowed. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is cool.
So then you can export that to sheets. His website, this EduGems, has all kinds of stuff. Anything from choice boards all the way down to like if for a teacher, if you need help writing like your IPI dip, if that's coming up in the next couple of years, emails to parents, your lesson plans, assessments. You know, you mentioned the DOK stuff. I feel like that's something that's so easy to get hung up on. Like, oh my gosh, am I writing my questions at the correct DOK levels? Here we go. You've got a
Yeah.
gem that you can create. And then that gem, you can use it over and over again.
Yeah. And if
So,
I don't know where everybody's at with AI, so we probably get people at all different places. But
yep.
if any of this looks overwhelming, just try it with one of the things that you were going to do this week, anyways, and then probably make it a little bit better. And just dip your toes in it. If you feel pretty good with AI, you can go a lot further with it.
And Kelly, I just an example of how I've used it that I never thought I would use it. So this month is obviously Cybersecurity Awareness Month. We're rounding that out, and I've been sending lots of emails to everybody of things to check out for. I kind of knew what I wanted to share. I'm just not good at like fine tuning it and polishing it and making it. I can explain it in techie language, but sometimes explaining it to a non-technical person is a little bit hard for me. So I put it in here in my techie speak, and it really helped me. It's like, an average user probably wouldn't know what that word means. Try
Wow.
use this word instead of that word. So that was incredibly helpful, and it saved a ton of time.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Now,
I know this, like sometimes we think AI just does the work for us. It's changed the way I think about how I approach problems, and I've learned more about teaching and instruction and everything by seeing what it offers, things I wouldn't have
for
considered.
sure. Um, So I think, Kelly, I'm ready to shift gears over to that Google Classroom
Yeah,
little
I think that's great.
Okay. So and this kind of ties into Kelly was talking like if you're getting overwhelmed, you're like, I have no idea where to start. Another really easy entry point might be over here in Google Classroom. So when you're in Google Classroom, generally this is what it looks like on your homepage. You'll have all of your class cards down here. There's this new Gemini option. And this reminds me a lot of Magic School, because it's so simple and easy. So let's do that choice board just to compare what the Gemini Gem looked like for a choice board. And then this is within Google Classroom. It's very Magic School feeling. So we'll go with second grade. lowercase alphabet letter formation. If you have instructional materials, so it could either be something maybe you've made and used in the past, but also think about all of your curriculum materials. They come with those PDFs of the teacher's manual. If you want an activity that aligns with something that you're already teaching, just download that manual, that little section. Obviously, we don't want to put like 500 pages in here, but just upload that lesson and it'll make you something that aligns with it.
Yeah. And it doesn't care if it's how good your image or upload is, because it's just using it as a reference point.
It just needs that, I'm thinking like if you have a document that already has your learning objectives and your standards, yeah, isn't this even prettier?
I gotta say, as far as the gems go, I like it way better in the Google Classroom. It seems simpler, easier to use. It has
this part does.
Well, even like when you designed it, like it had drop down, kind of reminded me of Magic School a little bit.
Yeah.
I like this. And we go to Google Classroom every day,
Yeah, you're already here. You can take this and we can put it in a document. So it's going to go to a document, or you can automatically assign it to a class.
Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah.
Let me send it
to wow, you can assign it right to a class. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to my little Mickey Mouse Clubhouse group and see what they think.
That's really...
Look how pretty it is. Like, to be quite honest with you, I'm guessing this is like a table on the back end. I'm not sure I would even know how to design that in Google Docs.
I felt the same way.
Sure, if I watched a tutorial,
I felt the same way on what it put it on goals. Yeah.
Here we go. Let's just see what it looks like. So then if I go in here to make sure you export to, oh, that's good to know. It's not going to save it. That's okay. We've already exported it.
Yeah.
So if I come in here to, boom, there it is.
Yeah. Now, Chelsea, I want to be careful of our time.
Yeah.
But you also shared with me that just like in Magic School, I can create a prompt and share it with other people. Like, let's say I wanted to talk to a document from the ODE or something like that. We can also create gems or these pre-programmed prompts, and we can share those out with one another.
Yes. I don't know if we can share these pieces yet, but I would venture to guess it'll only be a matter of time. But like what you're saying, Kelly, if you want to share your gem, so like let's just say this,
yeah.
Yep, this storybook one, let's pretend I actually created this, even though it was really an example. If you do, oh, maybe that's a lie. There is.
Yeah, sorry.
Nope, that's okay. There is a way to share them.
I think it might be that 3-dot one. No?
Yep, I think you're right here. So let me go back. I'll show you how to get to that a little bit easier. I was trying to go. So if you're just in Gemini, let's just go here like we're starting new. I was trying to go directly to one of my gems. If you do this explore gems, it lists everything that you have. Yeah. So then you can share.
So when I hit explore gems, it shows me all the ones I've used.
Yep.
That's good to know because I sometimes forget.
But like if we want to make a new gem, just to kind of show you if you're starting from scratch, the Ohio testing manual is one, right?
Okay, yep.
Test admin manual. The description is really just for you. I tend to put more of my time in here. So we can say, here's where you can attach your files.
So you would attach the manual. And then anytime I talk to a manual, I always ask it to cite the page number and paragraph for verification purposes. And so when I ask it a question like, hey, a kid got sick, what do I do with the test? When it gives me the answer, it tells me what page to double check on, which you always want to double check on AI.
And love it when you can't spell something, you just right click on it.
I do.
It is what it is, right?
I just let it go. Yeah. It's smart. It'll figure out what I meant. Yeah. Oh, this is fun. I think it brings some joy into planning and designing, And I think it saves a ton of time and it makes your work look great, you know?
Let's see if I can find this manual. So I do know it is in the We Are PC.
Okay.
So this is good to know because we can pull things. Fall testing manual. Okay, so here it is. Now, there is like obviously my prompt in here is not as bougie as Eric Kurtz's prompt, but you can use this little button here to use AI to help you improve your prompt. So I'm just going to do it.
Crazy. I did not know
See
that.
what it
That
comes
is
up with.
insane. Yeah.
I basically told it, I said, you're a principal or a teacher, and make sure you answer. So one thing AI will do is if you aren't specific with it, it will kind of give you the best answer that it thinks. So I put in here, I was like, make sure you are 100% certain. And if you're not, make sure you disclose that.
Yeah.
So right here, that's why I put, like, obviously, if we're asking questions about, like how much time do we have on an ELA test, we need this thing to be 100% confident in its answer. We don't want to be misleading anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll save this. I'm going to start a chat. And remember, you just have to say, hi, hello, something. Okay, what do we want to ask it, Kelly? Like a time limit
Yeah.
or
How long does ELA 7th grade student get to take the test? How much time?
now when you up here, I may have asked it too soon.
Okay. Might
Um,
finish loading or something.
yeah, sometimes up here, depending on what process it has to go through, I've noticed this more like if I'm doing something with coding or with spreadsheets, it will tell you exactly what it's doing.
Okay.
The other thing that's worth a note, they're getting much better. You know how back in the day, Chat GPT, like there were only like a certain number of people that could be on it at a time, and if you didn't get in, then too bad. I believe we are not like the top users. So if their system does get bogged down, I do believe it could take us longer than usual.
Yeah. I think as we talked,
Let's try this.
like Google is really good at a lot of things, and it's taken its time on purpose to do AI well,
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think they kind of learned from some of the other like front runners, and they were like, it's okay, you can be first. You can kind of work out the bugs.
I think it just finished loading everything, and now it's ready for your
Now
prompt.
it's ready. Yep. Okay. So how long are 7th graders on the ELA test?
Dun, dun, dun.
Here he goes. Still faster than us trying to find it ourselves.
Oh, yeah. And it might even be taking that long to find your manual.
Correct. And then so Kelly, we were talking about citing things. These are all of the different citations. So
Okay.
page 6, page 9, and it highlights like what chunk of the text comes from.
Yeah. I like important note. Districts have the discretion to allow students who need it. Okay. So, and then Chelsea, we were doing something very much like this, and she gave me another manual, which is like a manual for accommodations.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of things that you can do. But the nice thing is, if someone makes this a gem, then I don't have to type in the prompt. I can just go to that gem and utilize it. So maybe we can make a couple of these with like the PCFT contract and things like that. Yeah.
So if, like you mentioned, that accessibility manual that I shared with you, if I come back in and I edit this testing manual, I can add another document. I'm sure there's limits. I don't know what they are off the top of my head. But then once let's say we add that, we love how it's working, we come back here to our gems, that's where we're going to go back here and share this to whoever we need to share it.
Yeah. And, I just want everybody to know there's no reason for me to really recommend Gemini. Like I would always tell you what I think in my opinion, what the best tool is. And I am almost to the point where I'm going to move away from Chat GPT for my personal work. I have a personal Gemini account. just simply because I think it's a better tool. And I think as time goes, it's only going to expand more. But I'm just sharing that. So everybody knows I really believe this is a great tool. And this week, I'm just blown away of how teacher friendly it's become and integrates with the tools that I already use in my work every single day.
Well, I probably sound biased when I say that because everybody knows I
Yeah,
love Google.
because your license plate.
Well, yeah. But I think the biggest thing for me is I'm a huge fan of like, let's keep things simple. And if we can do everything in one platform instead of like, okay, I go over here to do this part and I'm over here to do that part, it's so fluid. Like right here where we just created that choice board and it opened up into the Google Classroom, or you can create your documents right from your Gemini chats. Like that is huge for me because it's really just streamlining that whole process.
Yeah. One of my new favorite prompts that I've been using on all different AIs is more of a prompt of not knowing. And so I'll take a screenshot of something and I just ask it, tell me about this. And it could be my grade book. It could be my plan of what I'm going to work on for the week. And I just say, tell me about this. And it pulls out things like, hey, I really don't know if you're going to have enough time to finish that project. You might want to do the following. And I'm like, wow, okay.
How does it know that?
It's really cool. So anyways, I'm glad we could probably go another hour, but I don't know how long we went here. I don't think we went an hour.
I think we should wrap up for today, but then it's going to be one of those things where like, okay, a month down the road, they're going to announce new features and we'll come back and share the next newest thing. Or if any of you after watching this create something, and because you guys are the ones who are living this in the classroom, we would love to hear your examples. Or if you create a gem that is really helpful, let's create our own district bank. Eric Kurtz made that beautiful website, but why can't we just create our own bank of gems if we find things internally that are super helpful? So we hope that you find value, but we also want you to share back and kind of keep pushing us to help, I don't know, to help you in better ways, I guess.
We all grow. Chelsea is awesome. Gemini it's amazing. Here's your homework if you choose to accept it. So if you got some collaborative time with colleagues, everybody take out Gemini and go through some of these gems, try some prompts, get familiar with it and build that muscle memory into Gemini. I think it'll really pay off for you. I think it'll help you save time. I think it'll lower frustrations. I think it creates great work. I think it's a good teacher tool.
Love it. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Chelsea. Awesome stuff.
All right.